the big binder, guys. This is my favorite binder. Like, literally, if I could marry a binder, this would be the binder that I would marry because it's beautiful. It just makes me happy. It just does. It just does, you guys. So, this is my data binder. This is what I take, oh Lord, everywhere. When we have meetings for TST, when I have meetings with parents, when I have meetings with the other teachers, when I have meetings with the interventionists, when I have meetings with the principals, anything that has to do with my kids and their data, this bad boy comes with us. So, let's see what's in here. First of all, I have a pencil pouch, guys, and it has all kinds of accessories in here. Because let me tell you something, nothing drives me banana sandwiches more than getting in a meeting and they go, okay, oh, I forgot to tell y'all need a pink highlighter. But it's okay, you can use the pencil. No. I'm like, no, you said a pink highlighter, so I need a pink highlighter. And then when they're asking us to highlight things and they're like, well, just highlight it all the same color. And I was like, no, color coordinate. So that's why I have multiple highlighters. I have different colored pens. I have paper clips and rubber bands and binder clips and Post-its and pencils and pens and all kinds of goodies because you never know when you're gonna need it. This thing has come in handy quite a few times. All right. First thing I have in here are our levels for the map, like our percentages and stuff. What I look at when we get our common assessment data back in, you know, if your kid has 64%, I need to know, is that 3A, 3B, 4, whatever. I also have their fourth grade map scores in here, which I cannot show because it has students' names on there. I'm getting in very big trouble. Can't do that. So, here are all our dividers, and I've had to add some through the year. PLC, that's when the teachers get together and plan all kind of good stuff. Checklist. Oh, this is my favorite tab, and you'll see why. Then we have radar rotation, which is our intervention time. Meeting notes. This is every staff meeting we have. We usually have an agenda, and I put it in here. TST, that's when we meet. It has all our forms and stuff in it. Grades. When we meet for TST, I don't want to take my grade book, so I usually just print a sheet off of the computer. Next is ELS test. That's when they take a computer test, and I put a copy of the test, the scores, and all that good stuff in there. I'm trying to, so you don't see kids' names. Pacing guide, blueprint, and scaffolding documents. I showed you a little bit of that in the everything binder, but I'll go into the scaffolding document a little bit later. And I have it divided right here. And then we have, that is our IEPs for our sweet little babies. And this is our common assessment, our tests and scores and things like that. Then we have planning, which I don't really use. I guess I could take that out. I have a planning binder now, but back then I didn't. Our NWEA, that's kind of like our STAR test. And what else? And then we get into Golding, Foster, Ruth, and Maine. This is where all my data sheets are with my kids, so that I know that if Sally Cat is in Miss Ruth's room, I'm not going to be looking in Miss Foster's section. I'm going to be looking in Miss Ruth's room for Sally Cat stuff. So that's in there. And I think that's the end of that. So let's go through each section. All right, PLCs. Usually when we're doing these, we're usually working these sheets out. Don't come at me for doing this either. I ain't got time. We usually break it down, and I can't show these because it's got students' names on it, but it breaks it down into students that are struggling, and then we write their name down and what they got and what standards they need to work on. So this is really helpful for our intervention teams. That's really nice to have, I would suppose. And then we have this lovely little, I can show you this. We got from one of our PLCs where it breaks down your common assessment data. So you write down the standards that you didn't teach, and that's that's what you need to teach in whole group. And then things that are lower than 60%, you need to teach again in whole group. And then spiral review is 60% or higher. So spiral review, that's for me, that's homework and morning work. And small groups is by standards for students who do not meet growth. So, you know, if Sally Cat struggles with 508-1, but she's one of 4, then I don't need to reteach that whole group. I just need to make sure those 4 get it so that we can move on from things like that. Oh, y'all, the next one is my favorite because it's checklist. I love a checklist. Like, if you know me, I'm all about a checklist, a table, a chart. It makes me happy. And it keeps me on my toes, because how many times have you been asked by anybody, so when did they turn that in? I don't know. I know they turned it in. I couldn't tell you when they turned it in, but I know they turned it in. So this year I actually bought one of those little stamps that has like the received and the date on it, and I've used that to help me keep up when they returned it. So I'll try to do this. I gotta fold it so you can't see people's names. So that data sheet that I showed you, first, second, and third, and I put the date that I send it out, and then whenever they bring it back, I put the date that they bring it back. Does this happen every single day? No, ma'am. It does not. All I do is I say, do you have any papers for me? They bring me their papers, and then I stamp it with the stamp, and I put it in a stack. And if I get to it that day, great. If I don't get to it until Friday when I have to take it home, hey, that's fine. That's no big deal. No big deal at all. So there's that. I have a checklist for that. And then I really should have done this beforehand. It's taking up a lot of time. I have a report card sheet, and I put first, second, and third, and then I put the date that I sent the report cards out, and then I put the date that the report cards got returned. So this kind of helps me keep up and make sure that, you know, parents are seeing what we're sending home. And then, why did I shut that? And then, you know, I told you about my homework. I don't check it every day. I ended up having to because kids were kind of taking advantage of the fact that I didn't check it every day. So I had to start checking it every day. But the first and second 9 weeks I didn't. So I had this homework checklist. So these are the Fridays of the weeks, and see if they had it completed, they got to check. If I didn't get anything from them, it was an X. If they had a homework pass, they got this. I also put absent if that child was absent, and then I can go back and ask them, be like, hey, do you have your homework from last week or whatever? And then if they turn it in and it's not complete, I put an NC on there, so that when parents come in for their meetings and they go, well, we do our homework every week, and I go, that's interesting because I don't get any on Friday. So this kind of keeps me and the parent on the same page, because every teacher knows, yes, I know my kids individually, and yes, you could tell me a name and I could rattle off their scores off the top of my head, but I can't rattle off about their homework. Like, I just can't. Like, that's a lot in this brain. So also with that, I have a test return checklist. So here's this. So I put the name of the test when I gave it out, when I gave the test, and then when I gave the test out to the student, I put the date, and then whenever they bring it back. So you can see this student brought back these 2, but they didn't bring back these 2. Okay, so that's something that I just like. Again, to each their own. If you don't need this, live your best life. I'm proud of you for being able to do that on your own. I can't do that. So then when I felt like they were taking advantage of the fact that I was not checking homework every day, and they were still not turning it in, I was like, well, guess what, guys? We're going to check homework every day. Where I had their names over here, and then it was daily, Monday through Friday, and then I put the date up there, and then if they had it, they got to check. If they didn't have it, they had an X. If they used a homework pass, they got an HP on it. So this just kind of kept them on their feet. But at the end of the day, the other homework thing that I showed you, that's what I put on the data sheets. I just use this to kind of keep them in check and let them know that I am going to be looking at it every day. So you do need to be working on it. And this homework could have been done, you know, in the mornings when they're sitting outside waiting to go into class. Well, not outside the room. But anything like that, any extra time that they could get 1 or 2 problems done. So please don't come at me for doing homework, please. Please, please, please. I love my kids. All right, that's done. Rate of rotation, intervention times. Of course, I can't show you this. It's got all their names and stuff on it, but it's just got their schedule. That's all it is. So it's nothing fancy. Our meetings, every meeting we had, things like that. If I had my open house sheet is in here, my signature sheet, so that I could always go back and see, you know, who showed up for open house, who do I need to make sure gets the right papers, things like that. I also have a notebook paper in here, so if I need to take notes or anything. TST, all that good stuff. And I know that when we meet in TST, y'all, it goes so fast. Sometimes I forget like what we said about certain kids. So I made this little table out of on Microsoft Word, and it just has the kid's name, reading, and math, and I can just jot down, you know, are they staying, are they moving, are we changing, what are we doing, and that way I can kind of go back and refresh my memory about the meeting. Grades, like I said, this is when I just print off from the computer just to have it in there. ELS test, I actually have a table for this. Of course, I can't show it to you, but it's got the kid's name and their percent and then the grade for that percent, and that goes along with the objective report and the test and all that good stuff. Now we're going to get into the pacing guide, blueprint, and scaffolding document. I've already showed you the pacing guide. Well, I talked about the pacing guide and the blueprint. I haven't really talked about the scaffolding document that we use from MDE, and it's basically just breaks down every standard, and it shows you step by step how to get to your end goal of that standard. So I have that in there, especially like when you're teaching a standard and you don't know how to get the kids there, you can kind of backtrace your steps and see where you need to start out. So it's really kind of helpful. And then I just have a copy of our standards that we have for 5th grade. And then I have all our IEPs and stuff that we talk about. So that's in there. Oh my gosh. Common assessments. We've kind of gone over this. It just has all that stuff in there. We like to highlight green and pink what's 60% and over and what's 60% under. NWEA. Just another data. Awesome ever. Then we get into our data sheets. And I've already showed you a copy of our data sheets. So you already see what that looks like. And that is it, you guys. That's it. That's my whole binder. My big Mama Jamma binder that I absolutely love and worship. Also, I have this. Of course, I've got to cut it. Hold on. For fluency. I don't know how I'm going to do this because it's got kids' names on it. Let's see. All right, you can't see anything. Okay, there we go. So it's got kids' names, right? I have 2 classes in here, that's why it's so small. But I have the kids' names right here. And like first 9 weeks we did multiplication, second 9 weeks we did division, third 9 weeks we did multiplication, and then this fourth 9 weeks we would have gone back to division. So this just kind of shows how many points they got. Okay, so you know, this shows me that this child only got to his 5s on multiplication. But this shows me he got past his 12s and did 3 reviews in division. So, you know, that's to kind of show the parent, you know, where they are, how they're doing, things like that. But yeah, that's it, you guys. Again, if there was anything that you wanted or think you want to look at or have any questions about, just hit me up. Let me know, because I'm losing my mind in quarantine. I've got to sharpen up on my math skills. I feel like I don't know how to do math anymore. So yeah, it's a pretty day out. Definitely go outside and enjoy it. That's what me and Spikes are doing. He's sitting here. He's actually being really good, surprisingly. But yeah, so that's that. So hope it helped. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Excuse how many times I said sorry. Bye guys.